Good evening, everyone. My name is Ronald Presner. I'm the chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the town of Mount Pleasant, and I welcome you to tonight's meeting. Before we start the meeting, let me first introduce the members of our board. To my far right is Adrian Novak. To my immediate right is Mr. Nick DeChico. To my left is Kathy Negrowski, who is the Zoning Board Secretary. To her left is Mr. Herb Dorr, and my extreme left is Mr. George Lapazos. Before I start the meeting, let me explain to you how we conduct our meeting. When your application is called, you'll come forward. I will read your application. I will ask you to be sworn in, and once that's complete, you can explain the reason why you need your variance. When that is done, the board members will then ask their questions, and when that's finished, it'll be open to the public if anyone present is either for or against an application. Once that's completed, what we'll do is we'll make a decision either to approve the application, deny it, or in certain cases, we may go ahead and postpone it for an additional meeting. So, with that being said, our first application for tonight is 2519. Andy Chung. All right, raise your right hand, please. Testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay.
Thank
You are?
Andy Chung, AC Engineering. Well, it's
Okay.
loud.
And this is the applicant for 168 Sawmill River Road.
Correct.
Premises 168 Sawmill River Road.
Right.
Designated on a tax map as 111.20-1-10. The application is to remove and replace an existing retaining wall with an existing office building on a legal standard parcel. The variance is maximum wall height is 6 feet. You have 6 feet now. You're proposing 10 feet, and you want a 4-foot variance.
Correct.
All right. This is the same building that's occupied by both Color Group and also, I think, a gym.
There's a gym to the north. Candela owns the property in the middle with the warehouse, and the color company, the printing company's on the
When I
south.
looked at your plans, and we went out to inspect on Saturday, I'm a little confused. There is a wall there. Is that coming down?
Correct. So
Oh, okay.
during the process of reviewing the documents, the wall is portions of the wall are actually on the neighboring property. So I'm currently working with the planning board and the engineering team now to rectify that, trying to make it legal. So in terms of making it a legal wall, the wall that's existing now will have to be removed, and the new wall would be installed on the correct property. So part one, and part two is the wall. When I did my research on the wall and investigated, did my site inspections, I determined that the wall was not structurally sound, so I wanted that wall to come down and replaced with
That
another
the
wall.
original wall that's there now is Mafia block?
Correct.
Okay. Now, I also noticed that there was a fence on top of the wall.
Correct.
If you put up a new wall, and the way the topography was, you're gonna have to put another fence, but not on the wall, but off the wall.
If we end up we are going to end up doing a fence. That fence is going to be grouted into the top of the wall because we're planning on using ready rock blocks.
The planning board said that's what they want?
That was what my design was for. And the engineering department is reviewing those
Yeah,
plans.
because usually on basic circumstances, what we find is that if you're putting up a wall 8 feet, 9 feet, usually behind that you have either a chain link fence or any other type of fence to prevent somebody from going over the cliff there.
Correct.
Yeah, so that'll be into it.
So our cross-section of the wall I have it shown with a fence on top of the wall. The Ready Rock blocks are built in a way where you can actually core drill through the top of the block and cement a fence on top of that block.
They're gonna be interlocking?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. Mrs. Novak?
How much off of the property line was the old wall, as we'll call it, just for this exercise?
So approximately 3 feet is encroaching into the neighboring property.
Okay, so it'll then move onto the, back over the property line, and it'll still approximately be 3 feet of wall space off of the property line?
The wall itself and the gravel behind the wall will be on 168's property, so there will be nothing on the neighboring property other than backfilling with soil behind that wall. And we actually got a letter from the neighbor saying that they were fine with
That was my
us
next
doing the
question.
work. Yes, we do have a letter from the neighbor.
No further questions.
All right, Mr. DeChico?
Can you just clarify again the height of the wall and the separate height of the fence that's supposed to go on top of the wall?
So the wall varies in height from 2 feet all the way to 8 feet. So with the fence on top of this section here, I guess the total height would be about 12.
So the fence itself is a 6-foot fence?
It would be a 4-foot fence.
So the concern that I would have is past interpretations have said that a fence on top of a wall is considered as an aggregate height of both. So I'm not sure that there's a reason not to interpret that here in the same way. And is there any ability to move the fence back a few inches off the wall where you're proposing? Which is what is typically done in these types of situations.
We could, it doesn't have to be fastened to the wall. We could,
And
we could
still
install
keep
it.
on your, I know we're close,
Mhm.
but could you still keep it on your property if you did
Yes.
that?
We could encase the fence behind the wall in concrete where the gravel is.
So that being said, can you, I believe you said that the wall, the new wall that you're proposing, not the fence part, but just the structural wall, is gonna be anywhere from 2 to 8 feet.
Well, towards the end part, that 2 foot between 8 and 10, we can kind of play with. But ideally, if we want it to be exactly where the slope ends, it would be 10 feet.
Okay. Can you tell us approximately how much of the wall, either feet-wise or percentage-wise, would be, if you built it ideally, would be between 8 and 10 feet? Totally, we're
Oh,
talking about-
how much of it is
Yeah,
between 8 and 10?
like 5 feet of the wall, 10 feet of the wall.
Probably from about this section to about here is between 8 and 10. It sort of ramps up,
So that's,
starting from here. About,
can you give an approximate?
I'd say like 50% of the wall would be
50%.
8 to 10 feet.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Mr. Dorr?
I had similar questions to Nick's. So if you're putting, the way you're proposing right now is you're putting the fence on top of the completed wall that's going from 2 to 10 feet.
Right.
So you're saying that in some spots, if I heard you correctly, it was 12 feet would be the height?
Including the fence.
Right, so
Right.
to Nick, Mr. DeChico's point, that's above what's been noticed.
Right. So
Because
if we
the
remove,
aggregate is, so this would have to be modified to include moving the fence off the top of the wall and into the ground behind it.
we can move the fence off the wall and into the ground behind it.
Yeah, because then the 12 feet doesn't come into play because it's off the wall.
Understood.
Because currently, right now, by code, we can't approve since they're 12 feet over.
Understood. So we'll keep the wall up to a max height of 10 feet, and we'll put the fence behind the wall on the 168 property.
Okay. No further questions?
All right, Mr. Lepatos?
With the adjustments that you've just represented, I don't have any other questions on it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other members of the board have any other additional questions? No? No. Is there anyone here for or against this application? No?
Was there a letter in the record, Mr. Chairman? There was an indication that a neighbor had submitted a letter in support.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
so
I received the letter the other day, so I will upload it to the file.
Do we want to make a motion?
You want to do it, Nick, or you want me to do it?
Sure. Mr. Chairman, based upon the representations made, I submit to you that we approve application Z25-9 based upon the plan submitted with the specific condition that the fence as proposed shall not be installed directly on top of the new wall, but in an appropriate distance offset behind it.
I'll second.
Was that Mr. Dorr? All right, second by Mr. Dorr. Ms. Novak?
Aye.
Aye, Mr. Lepatos?
Aye.
Aye, and the chairman votes aye. Carried 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next application for this evening is John Anastasio. Raise your right hand, please. Testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes,
Okay. You are the applicant for Nicholas DiPaolo, the owner of the premises located at 140 Warren Avenue in Hawthorne, correct?
correct.
It's designated on the tax map, Town of Mount Pleasant, as 112.18-2-7. The application is for a proposed one-story addition, new garage to an existing single-family dwelling on a legal parcel of almost 18,000 square feet in the R10 zone. And the variance you're looking for is a rear yard setback. 30 feet is required. Existing is 9.9, and you're proposing 7.33. So you're looking for a 2.6 deeper.
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. The existing lot, it's an irregular shaped lot. It's an acute triangle, and it's also a non-conforming pre-existing lot. The existing house, as it was built, didn't have the required setback. What the owner is looking to do is demolish an open breezeway and the existing one-story garage. What they'd like to do, the needs of the family are growing. They want to expand their kitchen, and they'd also like to have a connection between the garage into the house. So they would like to fill in the space with a mudroom that connects the house with the garage. Essentially, the design is shifting over the one-car garage, and then enclosing the mudroom and the kitchen with the existing depth of the house. At some point in the past, recently, probably within the last 10 years, a deck was also built, and a variance was granted for 29.9 feet. But the language of that variance was, let's call it specific. It just said deck. So what we're looking for here is a variance of 22.67 feet The existing house in the back right now is at 9.9 feet. And then with the new mudroom addition, by just extending the house out, would be 7.33. So that's how we get to the 22.67 feet. The garage is currently at a setback of 13 feet from the rear property line. And with this design, I moved the garage forward, maintained, bless you, maintained that 13-foot rear setback and honored the 30-foot front yard setback.
Right, now, when we were out there Saturday with our inspection, if I recall, there's a lot of vegetation in the back of the property, correct?
This property also has an easement with Capelli property that's to the east of it. So some of that stuff might be on the easement that they have.
Yeah, but you don't see behind, it's like a block, the vegetation in the backyard.
Yes, it'll block the vegetation in the backyard.
Because that's like a screening. It's almost like a screen. If you had like evergreens, it's a screening. So here you have miscellaneous vegetation where you don't see your neighbor behind you.
Correct.
Okay. I have no further questions. Ms. Novak?
So just to concisely state one of your arguments, it's that it's due to the nature of the, I would call this actually a perfect flag, but yes, a triangle is probably more accurate. So it is really due to that misshapen lot that a lot of these variances coming up to the back are necessary.
Correct.
And I do agree with Chairman that there is a lot of vegetation back there. Did any of the neighbors reach out regarding the proposal?
Not that I'm aware of. I haven't heard anything for or against.
No more questions, thank you.
Mr. DeChico?
No questions.
All right. Mr. Dorr?
That easement in the back was for a drainage settlement to the properties up in the Capella properties? Because all those properties go up a hill and are up top.
I don't know what the purpose of the easement was, if it was for drainage or not. What Nick, the owner, told me is that there was stuff on there that might have belonged to the property or was built. It wasn't clear to me why the easement was given, so they just granted an easement so they wouldn't have to do anything with any of the items that were there. I don't know that it was drainage related.
Because it appears that way. There's a very, very big drain in that field when you go into the backyard.
It could be. I just
But
don't have any
it's
information
deeded,
on it.
It's deeded permanently to them, from what I interpreted. So that back, it creates another buffer between the houses that are up on the hill above, from that standpoint. So I have no further questions.
Okay. Mr. Lepatos?
Thank you. Welcome again, Mr. Nastasio. Just with regard to the existing, prior to the renovation, the existing setback is 9.9 feet. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So at the time that the home was constructed, there wasn't a code. Subsequently, the code was developed, which prohibited properties from being that close to the line and set a specific requirement for a setback. So the house has existed, again, approximately 20.1 feet beyond the setback for the length of its life on the property. Now that you're doing this renovation, you could keep the 9.9 distance and not aggravate the need for a variance in this case, which is approximately 70%. But you're cutting into it by 2.6 feet. Did you explore possibly obviating the need for that additional 2.6 feet aggravation of the variance you're requesting?
We did look at it, but the nature of the interior layout is what necessitated just extending the house and then, going with that additional 1 or 2 feet closer to the back property line, because their kitchen exists in the back of the house, and part of the project was also expanding their kitchen. And just based on the layout, this is the existing layout. So this is the open breezeway. This is where their existing kitchen is. And the project proposal is to just expand the kitchen essentially in the same location, and then where the breezeway was, to make that into a mudroom that then has a connection with the new proposed garage location. So if this was to move further down to maintain that 9.33 setback, it would make this kitchen addition difficult. Practically, I don't want to say impossible, but a very irregular shaped kitchen based on the existing layout of the house.
So it's the impact on the interior that necessitates the additional encroachment? I mean, you understand why I'm having a hard time understanding what it is that is justifying or necessitating the increased variance you're requesting?
Well, geometrically, it's
Yeah.
because the lot line's on an angle.
Right.
I mean, that's really the reason. If the lot line in back was flat, I mean, this is a rather normal type of expansion of an existing kitchen. You're just extending the existing exterior wall. If I had to notch this or bring it forward, it would just create an irregular flow in the kitchen. It would sort of be impractical to do that. So the only practical solution here from a design point of view is just to extend the house out and extend the kitchen in its current location, just make it bigger.
So you have an offending corner though, right? I mean, the entire line of the house isn't encroaching at 22.67 feet. It's actually a corner that cuts that close to the lot line.
Correct, again, but that's the nature of geometry because the lot line's on an angle. So it's that setback at that point, but as you move closer to where the original point was, that distance continually increases.
I understand. So, I mean, just to boil it down, it's aesthetics, the justification, the necessity for the variance you're requesting, the aggravation by 2 feet is clearly not necessitated by anything other than the appearance of it, the perhaps flow, aesthetic considerations.
Within a broad definition of aesthetics, I would say yes to that. I would say it's necessitated more by flow and design and practicality of design, but you know, one could consider that as being under the umbrella of aesthetics.
Thank you. All right, no further questions.
Any other board member have any additional questions? Is there anyone here for or against this application? No? Okay. Does the board wish to make a determination and vote on the application?
Mr. Chairman, I move to make the motion for Z 26-15 to approve as submitted.
All right, we have Mr. Dorr.
I'll second.
You'll second. That's Ms. Novak. Mr. DeChico?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Lepatos?
Aye.
Chairman votes aye. Carried 5-0.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Welcome. Next application is Domofsky Architecture. Raise your right hand. Testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And you are?
Paulette Tomofsky.
And you're the applicant for Brandon Jacoby, the premises located at 4 Old Farm Road in Pleasantville, New York, correct?
Yes,
It's designated on the tax maps, the town of Mount Pleasant as 107.5-2-37. And the application is for a proposed new 20-foot by 45-foot in-ground pool, a 15 by 22-foot single-story pavilion to an existing single-family dwelling on a legal parcel of 41,000 square feet. Gotta turn the page. Actually, what you're here for is maximum variance on the maximum lot coverage, 10 feet required. Existing is 9.8, you're proposing 10.7, so you're asking for 0.7%. And then the front yard, 60 feet required, proposing 35.7, and the variance is 24.3 feet.
yes.
Before you go through your thing, I want to just go through our visit that we were there. And basically, you have a lot of steps leading from the house
Yes,
going into the backyard, and it's a very large backyard.
yes,
The question about the front yard setback is the fact that it's a corner lot. And that section there touches with Bear Ridge?
yes,
Okay, so that's the area in question. So there's no one on the other side except the road and cars going by. And there was a lot of, if I recall, there was a lot of vegetation there too.
there is.
I just wanted to clear it for everybody.
Okay. You just
go
stole
ahead.
my show. I mean, I was going to explain all that.
Well,
That's
no,
okay.
That's a big pool. That's, you know, what are we talking about, 20 by, what was it?
45.
It's almost an Olympic swimming pool there.
It's common in that area.
Yeah.
So I'm here on behalf of my clients, Jennifer and Brandon, who are here today. And we are here for the variances for the pavilion, not for the pool. We are proposing the pool, but the pool is compliant. The pool is located directly within the buildable area. So we're really here for the two variances as it relates to the pavilion. So as you said, we're on a corner lot. This is Old Farm Road. The front of the house proper faces Old Farm Road. And then the side yard, which is actually a front yard because it's a corner lot, is Bear Ridge. And as you pointed out, it's a very dense vegetation along Bear Ridge Road. So in coming up with a location for the pavilion and a location for the pool obviously is in the rear of the house. As you notice, the property slopes down away from the house. So there's a large patio, and you walk down these stairs to get to the pool. So you do that on this side of the house, which is the left side of the house, the side that faces Bear Ridge. So it made the most practical sense to put the pavilion at that location. We did look at putting it on the other side, but then it's closer to the neighbors. This was the most functional location for that pavilion and also the least intrusive to the neighbors. We did look at putting it in the back, but because of that grade, it would be just cost prohibited because we'd have to build up that pavilion. I know you mentioned the size of the pool. The size of the pool is pretty common in this area, and I have this great aerial view, which really helps you to see just to see all the vegetation. So this is Bear Ridge Road. This is Old Farm Road. This is their house. We're proposing to locate that pavilion right here. So there's a house to the left, a house across the way, and a house here, all of which have the same size pools. Not this one. This has a smaller pool in the back. But this house has the exact same size. So we do have letters from those three neighbors in favor of this application. One of the reasons is, when we talk about corner lots, we have two front lots, two front yard setbacks. the spirit of that is really for if there's houses along that adjoining road, you don't want to build past where the front of their house is. In our case, there's really no homes that face that street. So we're not really impeding on any, line of facade, right, along that 60-foot setback. And if this was a side yard, we wouldn't even be here because we would be within the side yard setback. Also, because of all this vegetation, it really shields from seeing that pavilion. I did bring a picture of the pavilion. I don't know if I submitted it, but this is the size of it, and this is what it would look like. And they want to put a back to it because it is very loud. Bear Ridge Road gets very noisy, so they wanted an additional buffer between the pool, the street, and the street.
I have 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
What about fencing? Where is that going to be? Just around the perimeter of the pool?
No, they have a fence installed now. I believe it's completely, so the fence is completely around the entire property.
Okay. And the depth of the pool?
It'll have a shallow end on one side by the pavilion, and then it'll go deeper. Do we know how deep? Yeah, we're still designing that.
All right. And is it a freshwater or a saltwater pool?
Question.
The reason I say that is the saltwater pool is much better than a chemical swimming pool. There's no chlorine, there's no poisons, and you don't have to worry about it. Think about it. All right, I have no further questions. Ms. Novak?
I don't have any further questions. We were out there on site inspections on Saturday.
Mr. DeChico?
The side yard in R40 is, remind me,
25 feet?
at 20. And there's an aggregate of 40, of
50.
50?
50.
Sorry, my math was. So, and you are, where are you?
We're about 35 feet back.
35 feet.
All right. Mr. Dorr?
And part of, building on Mr. DeChico again, part of that setback from that front yard is because of the nature of the angle of it. It's not a,
Yes, that actually is another disadvantage for us.
when you're looking at it, the way the property
Yes.
line goes, I mean, that side looks like it's in the jungle anyway, because it has all the bamboo on it.
Right,
So
right. So what-
nobody is seeing from there, but it goes on an arc. It's similar to the last proposal that was a flag. This one's got an arc.
Right,
And then you have this easement on the back of this end of this property
Mm-hmm.
that is also blocking it, so that even the house below it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have any, so it's really not affecting anybody per se. And when you look at it, to bring the pool over the opposite way, you're 25 and 35, so you're really not looking at a lot of room to move it the other way. It's not
right.
solving anything.
It would be a bigger variance,
Yeah,
actually.
it's not solving anything from that standpoint.
And I think the neighbors on that side are very happy that it's on the side we're putting it.
I have no further questions.
All right. Mr. Lapatos?
Mr. Domovsky, I don't have any concerns really with the front yard setback of it, given the layout of the property with the house that's situated on it. But as I did with the applicant before regarding maximum lot coverage, I have to ask, why are you increasing it? Why don't you just make the pavilion a few feet smaller? I mean, it's
Good
always...
question. It's a good question. So we are over by about 350. So that 0.7% coverage, which is kind of de minimis, is 356 square feet. Our pavilion is 330 square feet.
So be the whole pavilion?
Yeah, so it's less than the 356. So part of the house is already a little bit over the coverage. So it's a 15 by 22 foot pavilion. It's a prefabricated pavilion, so they're limited with
That's another...
sizes.
Okay. You've answered my question.
Right.
It
I just want
actually
to say-
comes that size, and in effect, there is no minimization of the pavilion that would,
It's not like I could
Bring
say
us
go
within the
2 feet
1%.
less in one side. And it does visually, it aligns with the pool, so the scale of it is in
I
proportion
know
with the
symmetry is
pool,
important to
you
architects, I
know.
appreciate that. Homeowners as well. Thank you. No further questions.
Okay.
Is there anyone here for or against this application? No one? Okay. The board wish to make a decision?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that, I didn't get the right number. On 2 pieces of paper, saving a tree. 726-16 be approved as submitted.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Lepantos. Ms. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. DeChico?
Aye.
Chairman votes aye. Carried 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy.
The next application, 2619, has been adjourned. Following next application is Jonathan Villani.
2017.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michael Molinelli. That's the next one, I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. I'll wait for the crowd to leave.
The owners, Trevor and Diana.
Okay.
Eisen.
How are you doing, sir?
All right, folks. Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do,
And you're representing them,
correct.
so they can stand or sit, whatever they want to do. Have a seat. Mr. Molinelli, you're the applicant for Trevor Eisenman. The premises located at 500 Sherman Avenue in Hawthorne.
Say again, I'm sorry.
You are Trevor, the property is Trevor Eisenman, correct? And the premises are located at 500 Sherman Avenue in Hawthorne.
Yes,
And it's designated on the tax map, Town of Mount Pleasant, as 112.6-4-37. And the application is for a proposed one-story addition to an existing single-family dwelling on a 7,500 square foot lot in the R10 zone. And you're seeking 2 variances. Number 1, side yard setback. 12 is acquired, 9.4 is existing, proposing 9.4.
correct.
The combined side yards, 33 feet is required, 41 and a quarter feet is existing, 30 feet is proposing, or 3 foot. Right?
Correct.
I can only assume that on this building, the 9.4 feet, you're just raising the building up flush with the existing side of the house.
Correct. So the existing house is 9.4 from the setback. Normally, in the R10 zone, the setback's only 10 feet, but because we're smaller, as a pre-existing nonconformity, because we're smaller, curiously, the code expands that to 12-foot setback. So we're asking for the setback of 2.6 feet on that side, and just to keep the south side of the building aligned.
All right, then the combined yard, you're asking for 3 feet. So it must mean that the other side of the lot, you got 4/10 of a foot,
So
or
the way
about
the
5 inches.
So the way the code is written, at 75 feet or above, you need 44% open. At below 75 feet, you would need only 40%. So if our lot was 1 foot smaller, we would be complying with it. So we think that, given we're on the boundary, we are asking for the variance as a reasonable accommodation, and that's sort of the reason why boards like yours exist, too.
This comes up a lot. We have a lot of these non-conforming lots, you know, especially the smaller ones. We have some that are 5,000 square feet, 7,500 square feet. And there's not too much you can do with it. You're limited. And so the board has to look very carefully into the application. The fact that you're not extending the width of the building just the height of the building, gives me a positive feeling, let's put it that way. Okay? You're not expanding outward,
Okay, we're expanding back behind the house, yes,
right, but not outward.
but not, okay, yes.
Because if we're going backward, it'd make no difference.
Right, we respected the rear setback.
Yeah, okay. I have no further questions. Ms. Novak?
Do you have any
Ju-
plans, or?
I do.
Yes, that's what I was hoping for to ask my question.
Yes.
So just to clarify, when we were out on Saturday on site inspections, we walked the property. So if you're looking at the house,
Correct. From the street, from Sherman.
yes, there's really nowhere to go on the right-hand side looking at the house. So the adjustment's really going to affect the left side of the house and back.
Correct. So by lining up, so this is the existing site, this is the proposed. We're just lining up on the south side, the right of the house, with the existing 9.4 setback. And then to get the 400 square feet, we are coming out this way. And like I said, we're coming out a distance so that 40% of the width of the site would still be clear, which would be the zoning requirement if our lot was 1 inch less than the 75 feet it currently is. So, this lot is 75 feet wide, the way the code is written, at 75 feet, that 40% opening increases to 44%.
Okay.
No further questions.
Mrs. DeChico?
No questions.
Mr. Dorr?
No further questions.
Okay. Mr. Lopatos?
I have nothing, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Obviously, there's nobody here for or against. No. We'll say 4. Does the board wish to make a determination?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve application Z 26-17 based upon the plan submitted.
I'll second.
All right, second by Ms. Novak. Mr. Dorr?
I approve.
Okay, Mr. Lopatos?
Aye.
All right, and the chairman votes aye. Carried 5-0. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Good night.
Right. Mr. Valani?
Good evening. And then there was one.
I'm glad I'm last because I think it might be a little more.
I don't understand, since you took up a whole page with all the variances.
I'm gonna explain why too.
Yeah, we gotta go home tonight. So
Yeah,
raise your
Mr.
right
Chairman,
hand, please.
I don't know if you have to read each and every.
yeah.
Yeah, the record.
Raise your right hand, please. Testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay. So you're Jonathan Valani, you're the architect?
We're the design firm, Annunziata Villani Design Consultants.
Okay. And this is regarding an applicant for 2 Broadway Realty, premises located at 2 Broadway in Hawthorne.
Correct.
It's designated on the tax map as 112.9-3-10. And the application is seeking approval for the conversion of a single-family commercial structure to a 4-story mixed-use storage and residential structure, which is currently seeking planning board approval. Is that correct?
Correct.
And it's on a legal substandard part of not quite 4,000 square feet.
Correct.
And the HH zone, and I'm not gonna go through all the variances, there's 11 of them, but I would say that a couple of years ago, we had this come before us for parking.
Correct.
Now,
I think it's more than a
it
couple
still
of years
looks
ago.
like hell over there.
Yeah, well, wait till you see the rendering. You'll be all right. You'll feel better. I
I
think.
saw the plan, I saw the plans for the building.
Yes.
I only have my one personal comment.
Yes.
Having an apartment next to the railroad tracks is living on White Plains Road in the Bronx. Every 30 minutes, a train goes by, blowing its whistle and so on and so forth. But that's not my issue.
Yes, yes, correct. It's, I think, still gonna be desirable.
What's that?
I think it's still gonna be desirable. Yeah.
Well, you can walk to the train station,
That's, yeah.
all right, that's definitely a positive.
Walk to it.
Or climb the fence. But it's the 4 stories, the top 3 stories are gonna be apartments?
Well, no. So I'll give you a brief, I'm gonna try to give you a brief history so we
Sure.
can see how we went from point A to Z. Obviously, we presented this project quite a while back before the HH zoning area was designated. So we did get approved for the variances, we did get approved by planning. And then the project ceased to get built. Owner ran into some trouble. He's still the same owner. Now is very progressive about developing this property. So we came back with a 3-story, presented as a commercial structure on the bottom, two apartments on top. So it was a 3-story. Then we had a meeting with Pat Cleary and Sal, discussed what our limitations were, the very confusing criteria that is the HH design criteria, as well as zoning compliance with that district. I don't believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if anybody's presented an existing building being renovated to this extent in the HH zoning district, right? So I think we're dealing with a precedence that I'm a little confused by myself. So at this point, the planning board approved the design of the property, so we can't switch parking, nor can we switch dumpster location or certain things to that extent, or the impervious surface, because all the impervious surface is attributed to parking. So we did make some alterations to appease some of the criteria that's developed in the HH zoning district, like we created a planting bed in the front, so now the impervious surface, which is allowable, is 90%, is 95% instead of what it was previously, which was 100%. So we made it 95%. The building footprint staying the same, which is causing some variances from under the design criteria of the HH zoning district. We cannot appease those design criteria because we're building on the existing footprint of the building. Also, the first variances that are discussed, lot area obviously doesn't comply because it's a substandard lot at 3,925 square feet. The side yard interior is already established by the existing building being there. It's only 1 foot as versus 0 or 5. The rear yard is already established on this property because of the existing footprint remaining, as well as the built to lot line primary street. We're not proposing a new building. So a lot of these design criteria are really geared towards new design and new building construction. So the vast amount of variances that we're requiring are due to the fact that the existing property is not conforming, as well as existing footprint remaining the same, and we're building on top of it. So it's a little, it looks like it's a lot of variances, but due to a lot of existing conditions. Hold on, just sort of rendering. So this is the proposed 4-story. It's actually now 4 units, so there's going to be a studio at the lower level and 1-bedroom apartments above. So 4 units total. We are compliant with the parking. We remain so we allow 4 parking spots. That's all we need is 4 parking spaces due to the new parking criteria. That's the only thing that did help us out. The new parking criteria in the HH zone district allowed us only to have 4 parking spaces.
You're gonna have an elevator in this building?
Yes. Elevator and a roof garden to attribute to the open spaces.
Okay. Parking setbacks, 30 feet, 3 feet, yeah, 27-foot variance.
It's existing.
Previous lot, 90%, behind the side of the building, 100%. You want 5%. Upper floor, offset depth, what does that mean?
So it means, so here's the other confusing part of it. The variance, all those design criteria, the offsets, the length of offsets, are attributed to the HH zoning district. Now, we're asking for a bonus of, because we're asking for a 4th story in the zoning district. Now, what I'm trying to interpret from Cleary Consulting's letter is that it would only become a variance if it's approved by the town board, because the town board still has to grant us a 4th floor from a bonus standpoint. So the 4 variances that are considered underneath the town approval, if you look at the letter from clear, it's all subject to town board approval and density bonus. So if the town board does approve us, I guess those, I'm assuming those variances are granted. I don't know, did you ever see his,
No.
so, see it says right here, subject to town board approval, and these are the 4 variances that are under that. All the other variances that are, indicated are subject, are due to the nonconformity of the property.
Because right now, I think the building height requires 35 feet, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is going to be about 45, 48 feet?
44, I believe,
44 feet.
with the bulkhead of the
Yeah.
elevator.
Are you, s-
You're allowed 4 stories
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, your drawing, your photo on the right, looks like the building increased itself in height, the beige building.
Yeah, yeah, the rendering is probably, yeah, it's probably lower than that.
Right.
I have a new
Lot
one, I have,
'Cause all those are all about 8, 10 feet high, those buildings along there.
well, that peak of that building's a little high, but I believe it's around, probably midline here.
All right.
I have a new student working with me doing
And
my
then
rendering.
across the street, you got the auto parts place. you
Correct.
got-
We're hoping this to be a catalyst for change in the
Yeah.
area.
Well, in my opinion, it looks like a nice project. I mean, I'm not going to argue with that fact. Does the could the property be improved? Yes. Yeah, we look at 267B, and in doing so, does it have a detrimental effect on the neighborhood? The only thing that would have a detrimental effect on that street is a bomb. Okay?
Hence,
Will it enhance the properties? Yes. Easy access to parking down at the commuter parking. I have no qualms about it, except if, like I said, the train coming by every 45 minutes or 30 minutes, tooting his horn.
as long as we're not living there,
you know. Because where I live, I can hear the trains from Valhalla blasting their horn coming into Valhalla, and I live up near the Westlake High School. Right? And when they get down here at the bottom of Stevens Avenue, by the cemetery, they let that one off. So at night, it really carries. At night in here, I hope they have very strong windows.
yeah, I don't know if it's that or they're, it's deemed, convenience over comfort. They're gonna, the convenience to the train station is more than the
Yeah, because
train noise.
what you need is, on that building is, I'm going to use it in the broad sense, soundproofing.
Yes,
And the soundproofing is extra thick windows, better insulation, not for heat or cold, but for sound.
sound.
Yeah. The other one's maximum length of wall with offset, where is that?
So, it's this wall right here that offsets from this wall. What they tried to do in the HA zoning district is prevent anybody from making flat, ugly buildings. So they wanted projections in and out from the facade,
Okay.
which are seen here now in the new rendering.
Well, I have no, I have no further questions. I think it's a pretty decent job. Did a good job. I got to
Thank you.
compliment you on it.
With what I was, with the
Yeah.
envelope, I
The
was,
four stories bothers me, because it'll be really out of context in that area. You'll be higher than the train platform.
yeah, I think it's in an effort to hopefully have other properties there do the same, right?
Well, the only thing we've seen down in that area is the parking lot that they put over across the street from the train
Yeah, that's
station,
it.
where nobody parks. But other than that, no. Ms. Novak, you have any questions?
Any feedback from neighbors, namely the MTA?
No,
Just
no.
curious if they had,
No feedback. We returned we have all of our returns, no feedback, no negative feedback.
just given the nature of the construction, the parking, I just didn't know if they had any,
I just don't know if people in that area are more as concerned about it.
no further questions.
All right. Mr. DeChico?
I have a few.
Oh,
I have
boy.
Several. If you could go through with me a few, at least one of the variances for now. The variance 11, upper story height,
Correct.
that's different than building height?
So I think,
And let me just ask my
Yeah.
second part to that.
oh, okay, good.
Because maybe you could answer it all together. So, first part is that different than building height? And can you make sense out of the way that this is listed for him? Because it says upper story height required is 9, existing is not there, not applicable. Proposing is 9, so the variance requested is 9. So that doesn't make sense to me, because usually if you have a required at 9 and a proposing 9, there should be no variance. So why is the variance then 9?
Kathy and I went through this when we were trying to state the variances.
Okay.
We were trying to translate Pat Cleaver's note, which the only way I could translate is that if it was a 3-story building, then 9 would be compliant. But because we're making it a 4-story building, we're asking for an additional 9 feet of height, because this next story is 9 feet. So, because we did have, when we had the 3 stories and I made it 9 feet each story, it was compliant.
Okay.
But now we went to 4 stories, so the additional 9 feet of the 4th floor is creating a 9-foot
But
variance.
4 stories is allowed. I
Yes,
know it's in the
as,
house.
but allowed under town approval. So that's why it says subject to town, so you're looking at a variance sheet, but I'm looking at the actual letter from, it says, subject to town board approval density bonus. So there's a density bonus
Correct. I wrote-
that can be
I read
allowed that will make it compliant.
And would that be the same for variance 8, the upper floor offset, and variance 10,
Correct.
the upper floor offset length minimum?
Mhm.
Okay.
So I believe if town board approval creates, does give me the bonus, then all these come into line.
Right, then, so that leads into a second area is, are we premature in considering these as variances when they're up for potential town board approval and then you wouldn't need a variance?
I was thinking about this when I was back there, that was gonna be something that came up, because there is a little confusion here, and I think it's also deemed by the description of these design criteria. You have to, I'm going through this the first time with the HH zoning district as well, so I'm trying to figure it out as well. I know I have to go to the town board for approval regardless, right? So, I don't know if I'm premature here or premature there, or,
And then,
I'm sorry.
sorry, because then if we're going by this logic, which I understand it's confusing, it's not totally clear, so we're trying to work it out.
Yeah.
But if we're going by this logic, then perhaps there should be a separate variance for building height at 44. Because then wouldn't we need to be approving a building height of 44 if we're approving these other variances for these to be?
unless, if you're assuming town board approval is granted, then it becomes compliant. So it becomes compliant, it's only contingent upon, your variance granting is only contingent upon their approval, or vice versa. They approve the bonus, and then I come back for granting of the variances.
Well,
I'm
you
looking for
had,
direction as well.
Yeah, we had an incident, we have an application where the property owner came before our board, and they're also before the planning board, and there was a question of the lot line. Well, we're gonna move it here, or we're gonna move it there.
That changes
We're not
everything,
sure.
Yeah.
So what we had to do is, we can't approve something that isn't compliant, let's put it that way, or illegal. So, we referred the applicant back to the planning board for them to make their decision, and then come back to us so that we can say that the side yards are good and so on is good. The difference, in this case, it's not a horizontal application, it's a vertical application. And as such, we have the same situation where there's a 4th floor. Right now, it's legal to have 3 floors. And one of 2 things can happen. One, the board can look at a 3-story application, or hold off, and the board, once you got your approval from the town board for a 4th story, then we would go right ahead. There's nothing on here that would say that's detrimental to your application.
Yeah.
But we're dealing in something that doesn't exist yet.
Correct,
Because if the board turns around and says, well, I decided we're not going to go for it,
yeah.
then what do you do?
No, I understand. And I think also, to be quite honest with you, I think going back to the town, if I go to the town board, not the planning board, because the planning board has already referred me to you guys, so I don't think I'm thinking it's the town, I'm thinking, you correct me if I'm wrong. If the town board grants the additional bonus, right, of the fourth floor and the bulk bonus, I could then clarify these variances for you to, because then there might be reduced variances. It might only be 4 variances instead of 9 variances. So if they approve the bonus, I can come back with clarity to the zoning variances.
Yeah,
So, Mr. Chairman, I still have a few questions if that's.
Oh, I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
sorry.
Sure thing. Yeah, so that, just to round up the point, I'm a little unsure now because we don't have a variance before us for a 4th floor, which I think at this moment in time, we may need, even though we may not need it in the future, but that gets to what we talked about. Can you clarify for us, I believe, what exactly has the planning board approved or not approved up to this point?
The site plan is approved.
Site plan. Okay.
I mean, as far as they have jurisdiction over the plans have been approved.
So
They've seen all these plans.
So they've generally approved the idea of a 4-story apartment?
Yes,
Have
as
they
a-
approved the concept of it now being 4 units
Yes.
instead of commercial and then 3?
So this project as presented to you has been presented to the planning board. 4 stories, 4 apartments, site plan as is.
And
as
was
I
there
showed.
any particular reason for that change from 1 plus 3 to all 4?
Well, to be quite honest with you, it was a discussion that we had with Sal and Pat, and the owner wants to maximize his investment, and they said it's under town board approval, which is another aspect of this. I have to present to them, to the town board, an amenity, meaning I have to give the town an amenity as for the bonus, meaning we have to do something in the town, whether it be relative to the parks or something that we have to give back to the town for that bonus, for that approved bonus of additional floor, additional bulk. So that's the, and then we were talking about it, and there was positive feedback from Pat and Sal about this project, and the owner was, positive about making his investment maxed out.
A few, just I think 2 or 3 more. Okay. In your initial presentation, I believe you had mentioned something along the lines of the zoning board had approved variances before, now you're coming back. But just to be clear, the variances that we approved before had nothing to do with building height or apartments.
No,
it was
parking,
just
parking.
Right, okay. Can you just, for the record, I think, certainly have a concept of it, but just, can you clarify for the record, to the best of your ability, how the new Hamlet zoning is affecting this property, whereas if the Hamlet zoning wasn't there, what are you able to do now that you really would have been out of the question but for the Hamlet zoning?
All right. Well, what you're asking me to do, which is I can do, it's just standing at this juncture, it might be hard. You're asking me to, now that I just got used to all the zoning compliances relative to the HH zoning district, I'd have to go back now and refer to my old project on the zoning compliance. Because I do a compliance chart, and I would have to reference that.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a test. It was just, I actually thought it was a fairly, I didn't think it was that complicated question. I was just looking for you to give us a general understanding of how the Hamlet zoning is benefiting your client here in this case.
Okay, let me see if I can explain this. So from the old zoning compliance, the site plan was really the issue. The parking, the dumpster, the location, there was big discussions about the site plan. So the parking was the big variance. Now, whether or not the pre-existing footprint of the building, because I have to imagine in the old zoning district, there were no setbacks, or there was a relatively small rear setback at the most, right? Because usually commercial zoning districts have 0, 0, 0, but they have a rear yard setback in this area. So I would imagine it was 0, 0, 0 and like 10 or 5 in the back, which would make my building compliant. So the footprint of the building was compliant at that time, right? But now there's all different setbacks that have been established. So we weren't asking for any variances on the footprint of the building, nor the size, nor the bulk. And we weren't asking for size or bulk with the new HH zoning district until we added the 4th floor. So really, if you want to look at it in a very macro sense, the site plan was approved for the parking variances previously. The building's 4 stories, with a 44-foot height. So if you were to like go back to the old zoning compliance, really it would just be a height variance, right? But then you have all the other pre-existing nonconformities.
Thank you.
Mr. Dorr?
Okay, so basically, until, I'm getting the feeling that we really can't approve any of this until you get approval from the town board. not the
So do I.
planning department.
Yeah, so do I.
I mean, my recommendation and my feeling is that we should adjourn this until you present to the town board and they make their, I mean, the planning board has already approved the site plan and things of that nature, but based on what I'm interpreting here, it's really the height of the building and whatever you're agreeing to take with the town
Correct.
before we can approve this.
No, I agree. I agree. And I'd like clarity on the variances as well, because I think some of them can be wiped out with the town board approval. And then I'm presenting less so severe variances.
Makes more sense.
And this looks like a menu at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Well, I love it.
They should have been there today, Kathy and I were trying to put it on
Mr.
paper.
Levatos?
I share the concerns of my fellow board members, your recognition of the fact that variance number 11 is in effect contingent upon something that hasn't happened yet,
Yeah.
which is a town board approval. And for those reasons, I wouldn't be in a position to consider number 11 at this time. Just with respect to number 6, for the parking location. Now, obviously, there's an existing structure there already, which, you know, currently has a parking layout. Was there any consideration of how you could comply with the behind the building only parking, or is it necessary to continue side parking as well?
So this was a very, very long drawn out discussion when we first presented. Sal, a lot of opinions, a lot of changes, a lot of, I didn't.
It always is. Parking
Yeah.
is
So
always a
this,
trouble
and
with
then
something
when
like
we finally came up with this design, I think the severity of the other designs, the way it was, you know, presented, this was the least severe and allowed me to put a dumpster location, also allowed, there was other criteria that it met, and then this didn't seem such a bad idea, which was the parking spaces that close to the street, which, but it was a joint effort. It
No,
wasn't,
I was
yeah, it
on the
wasn't
board
just.
at the
yeah,
time of the initial
yeah.
application, so I remember our discussions, the exploration of
So I
alternatives.
was afraid to change it, to believe. Do you-
Well, I just
yeah.
wanted to check to see if, with the new zoning code, with the new opportunity to make other improvements to the property, if anything had changed with respect to the flexibility
Yeah.
of the property to accommodate rear parking.
Well, the dimensions are the dimensions still, because the footprint stayed the same. So the parking, you know, we didn't want to, you know, rock the boat, because all the dimensions stayed the same in the rear yard and the side yard.
Yeah.
So it's actually it's going to become less, it was less of an issue because there was fences around the property. But there's no, when the property gets developed now, it'll be less obtrusive because there's no fences around the property. It'll be clean and asphalt and look less constricted because it's going to bleed right into the circle
Sure.
cul-de-sac there, so it's going to look.
Yeah,
it'll
I
look
thought that
better.
was important to at least explore it with you,
Yeah.
but I do recall the evidence that was adduced during
So
the earlier
first-
hearing, and I
Yeah.
don't want to put you through that pain again.
Yeah, my
but-
pre-submission meeting, it was one of the first things I said.
Yeah.
I said, am I changing the site? Am I changing the site?
Yeah, the fact that you explored it
Yeah.
and considered that option is sufficient for me.
Thank you.
Nothing
Mr.
else.
Chairman, I just have one other one, just to go on the record. If I remember right, when we were there, in the back of the building, there's a modular storage box that's being.
Oh, probably right now, yeah, that's gone,
Current-
yeah,
and
yeah.
that goes away.
No, and
So the
that's.
parking
Yeah,
increases
everything,
back from
so
there.
right now, it's being used for the owner's commercial, just storage. It's just being used for storage. Everything's getting wiped out of there, clean and done.
But to Mr. Lopatos's point about the parking, when that box is removed, the space in the rear actually becomes more usable from the parking
Well,
perspective.
no, that's considering, this,
No,
yeah.
but when that moves away, it's not as tight.
Well, no,
is my
these,
question.
this design, this site plan design doesn't have that modular box there. So this is just the footprint of the building, so all these dimensions will be there after that modular's
I
gone.
understand
Yeah.
that, but when we approved, that modular was there.
Oh, yeah, but this is the site plan that was presented without the modular there.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't presented with that modular in mind.
Right. Let me ask you, would you like to adjourn?
I think I have to, right? Yeah.
Because I think at this point, the board's got a pretty good idea of what you're trying to do. We've gone through this twice, once with the parking
Yeah.
several years ago, and now we're dealing with the building. And we still don't know if the town board is going to approve your application. So if we went ahead and said, all right, we're gonna approve it for 3, you're gonna have to come back if you wanna do the 4th, if they approve it.
No.
Do you have a date for the town board? yet?
No, I'm gonna have to set that up. Kathy, do I set that with you, or who do I set the town board up?
Board, talk to Carolyn, and then it goes through Amanda.
Okay.
Would you like to do that?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're gonna adjourn the meeting until another time. You're not penalized for it or anything like that. And we'll take it up then, once
Okay.
we have the decision from the town board,
Thank you.
all right?
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
No,
based
we got
on,
we gotta.
Do we have a
we got a what?
motion to adjourn?
That's what
So
we're
moved.
just gonna do.
All right.
What? We're just making a motion to adjourn.